Grace be unto you and peace from God our Father and from the Lord Jesus Christ. I was glad when they said to me, let us go into the house of the Lord. And I'm Father Steve Sellers, and this is Dot, who is going to refuse her little treat today. There you go. Dogs are so funny. The people are funnier, basically. Anyway, this is our brief daily message of hope, and I pray that you're in a good place today. And if you're down in the southeastern part of the U.S., we're praying for you as hurricane comes ashore. We are surrounding you with prayers, and we know what that's like here in Houston. We've had our share in the last 4 or 5 years. Haven't had any really this year, and I know Florida's getting hit hard. So you're in our prayers, and be safe and hunker down if you're still there, and we'll just bombard you with prayers. I was thinking today about my time back in the 1970s when I was a newspaper editor. I used to have a big black book, hardbound, that had empty pages in it. Actually, it was a calendar book, and it had one day after another in it. And I used to write down in that book a list every morning when I would come to work. I'd start on the previous night, and I would make a list of all the stories that my reporters were working on and needed to get finished that day. So I had probably 10 or 15 local news stories. What my reporters were working on, I needed them to finish those. And then the next day would come and I'd write the ones there. But what an interesting thing happened over the years. I was the urban affairs editor for the morning newspaper in Memphis. An interesting thing happened. We were always interrupted. The news always happens unexpectedly. And so we never got to nearly most of the stories we wanted to, because we had to do other stories that were more pressing and more urgent. So I would write that list and put it down on the next day. And we'd get to it that day, and then sometimes the breaking news would interrupt that too. And we would respond to the news as it happened, and put the other stories just on temporary hold. And I learned back then that this is my old quotable quote. I'd say it's not what's on your list that counts. It's what you do. And I didn't want to be plagiarizing anyone with that quotable quote. There was a similar quote by popular American author Anne Aguirre, science fiction author, who said, it's what you do that counts, not what you consider doing. And so action is what counts. The New Testament is very clear that true love always consists of action. We do something about it. And our faith is more than just warm, fond feelings. That's a very weak faith when all we do is just feel warm and happy. It's important that we do, but it's also important that we do something about it. Faith is taking our belief in God and our faith in God. Faith is taking that mental part of it and moving it about 18 inches down into our heart and then acting on it. It's how we act that happens. And the Lord does, for his people, bring many opportunities daily to us to be kind and compassionate. That is our mission, compassion. Saint Mother Teresa made that clear. It's loving what's right in front of you. She said you can't love the whole world, but you can love the person in front of you. You can't solve all the world's problems, but you can solve the problem with that one person who's right in front of you by being compassionate and kind. And so change the world one person at a time. That's the way our faith has always worked. One person at a time, doing what the Lord calls us to do and changing the world for someone else by being loving and gentle and considerate and compassionate and kind every day. And we can get up in the morning and say, Lord, I want to do that. Please help me to do that. Sort of like John Michael Talbot wrote in his great song from 1997, "Here I am, Lord, I'm come to do your will." calling me. Help me to do your will. I hope you have a blessed day today and that you are experiencing God's love and mercy wherever you are. And be safe out there. And God willing, Dot and I will see you here again tomorrow.